Self-sabotaging. You probably have people heard people talking about that for many, many times. Self-sabotage thoughts. For example, I'm not good at this job. Yeah, I feel like, no one respect me. I feel like I'm not ready for this kind of things. And then when someone offers you something really amazing, it would be like, yeah, I just feel I'm not worth it, something like that. These are the self-sabotage thoughts. Most times when you talk to people about that, and people are like, don't be negative about it or something like that. Especially when you are negative about yourself, when you're not when you're not appreciating the gifts and talents that you have, when you put a lot of efforts into doing something, and later on, when you realize there's some imperfections in it, and you start to use these things to basically sabotage yourself, attack yourself, and that drains your energy away, and then just in every all the effort you have put into doing something, it just completely become worthless, completely become useless. Basically, you are destroying your own city wall and leading to a collapsing. But this is actually not all I'm talking about, because these self-sabotage thoughts are very obvious to yourself and even to other people. But as my audience, you guys, I want to provide you with something that's very different, because I want to draw your attention back to yourself. Be aware of that. Be aware how your body is feeling. Once you're able to do that, I'm going to tell you this now. Many times, even maybe most of the times, it's something always overlook, is that the self-sabotage thoughts are actually quite sneaky. Let me give you one example. Now, this is actually example coming from myself even. I started changing my life since 2014. My very good friend of mine, he was a life coach, and so he offered me some sessions of, social liberation, social freedom, practice, exercise with him. So I learned a lot, and I started pushing myself relentlessly every single day. And in my dreams, and when I was doing things, when I was communicating with people, always I want to push myself. Another thing I need to point out is I did have that. I think maybe I still do. The OCD, oppressive, uh, some compulsive disorder, something like that. OCD. I forgot what that actually stand for. You guys can find that out. So basically, with the influence basically of the OCD and my strong, basically is the main thing is my strong will of pushing myself out of the comfort zone. Every single day, I was just relentlessly always finding the different challenges to do. Either I would stand in front of the student union when I was in States. I live on campus. I would stay in front of the student union and start to sing songs or reciting that very ancient Chinese poem, because I'm a Chinese American, so I have a lot of cultural background behind me too. It is just actually just put myself in the very environment that just to push myself, to making myself suffer, to making myself uncomfortable. In the very beginning of the days, this is actually quite nice, and then the OCD part of me is like, if you're not being perfect in this, you gotta keep doing it. This is actually the time, the moment, even on my back of my head, I was like, something is might not be right. But my pushing for my will and that drive of pushing the comfort zone every single day is just so freaking strong. So it does not actually allow me to actually sit back and really think, is there anything that I need to change? Is there anything I need to modify? Or anything I need to improve that improvements of what I was thinking every day is doing something even more challenging. That's to me what improvement is, and I feel really great. I suffered before that. I had such a strong anticipation before I did something to make myself uncomfortable, and in that process, I also feel a lot of pain, and it's just like I have to focus, really focus myself back to this very moment, and just feel so much strong sensations inside. And then after that, during in the middle of doing it, and after that, you just feel like so amazing, and it's like this is this is actually what liberation feels like. I would stand in the apartment building and look at one spot in the wall and just start talking to it. And people sometimes are walking by, they just rub their neck, and it's like, but they actually didn't care. It's just, in America, I think, you know, people say sometimes Americans are, in general, a lot of them are judgmental or something. But at the same time, that also there's one part of them that, you know, they understand and they even appreciate the people who really going out there to be themselves. This is quite influential and inspirational to a lot of people. Actually, very inspiring. Now, the the main point I want to talk about is during this time, this that's where the self-sabotage thoughts are so sneaky. It's something I didn't even realize until recently. I was like, man, this is actually self-sabotage. Now, what do I mean by that? For example, again, I want to use myself as that example, as a guinea pig. If one day I didn't do, during those days, not now anymore, but during those days, if one day I would, sit in front of my computer, or, writing a diary, a journal, or maybe watching a video on Netflix or something, maybe just one episode of something, or on YouTube, watch 5 minutes of something, I would feel very uncomfortable. I was like, why am I doing this now? I should have been out there and doing something that, you know, drastically challenge myself and put myself through pain. And I would feel really uncomfortable just sit there doing nothing. And I feel like even something that videos that are really inspirational and those spiritual videos, I still feel uncomfortable. I'm like, I gotta shut this down because this is feeling too comfortable right now. I need to do something. Or when I do something, for example, I sing in front of student union, and the next day I would sing longer. The next day I would, take my camera away from me. I would just literally sing, and then maybe putting some movements, because I just feel like by doing only just by only singing, I'm not being perfect. So I need to be perfect. So I need to bring something else in it to improve. So that perfection, a lot of people say, yeah, you need to give out that, you need to get away from that the perfection mindset. But it's actually more than just perfection. To me personally, and I think to many of you, maybe you have the reference experience. To many of you, this also applies, and it's kind of cold. Sneezing. Um, that pushing for perfection, and the fact that you cannot be perfect, because nothing in the world is perfect. It might make you feel satisfied just a little bit, but then you just feel completely. You feel like, oh, I'm not enough. I need to do more. So this is actually self-sabotage. I don't know if you have, I don't know if you have felt that yet, but just think, just just recall those moments. You're like, I need to do more. I'm not feeling I'm doing this to your perfection, and you feel bad. You are completely disregard how much effort and everything you put in it. And you sometimes even tell yourself, if this is not perfect, then it's shit. Sometimes you will even tell you something like this. And I told myself like too. I was like, either I'm not going to start this, or I'm going to make it wonderful. I'm going to make it 100%. That 100%. translated into English is perfection. So to me, I was like, people would tell me, you don't need to be that perfect, and sometimes people say, yeah, you just need to relax a little bit. You don't need to always be perfect. But what people actually don't tell you, and what I wouldn't tell you early on, until now, is that this is actually self-sabotage. That feeling, the draining feeling of not being perfect, is like, okay, everything is useless because it's not perfect. Everything is useless because I'm not I'm not reaching my expectations of what I made before. That is the self sabotage thought. Other people seeing what you have done is like, oh my God, I so admire your bravery or your courage of executing what you want, your thoughts, and then following through, and we see the fruition of it. It's so inspiring. But to you, it's like it might feel better a little bit because feel like, yeah, I'm just being humble because I'm not enough. This is just, I'm not being perfect. I know that I need to be honest to myself. I'm not being I'm not giving the most of myself yet, and I just feel like I'm not living um, the most out of my life, and this is not perfect. I need to do more. Otherwise, everything is useless. No matter how much other people inspired by you, influenced by you, no matter how much people actually got really admired to you, you just don't feel it. You just don't feel like it because you always feel like you have to do something more. But although this is healthy to a certain point, but in your way, and in my experience, in my the way that in my personal case, it has become totally, it been too much. It has become something that toxic because it has become self-sabotage. It drains my energy away. It takes my energy away, and I just feel like I need to do more of something. Otherwise, I'm become less of myself. And that thought always inside of me. If you don't do this to perfection, if you don't push yourself to the hardest point, then you are not living your life fully. And not living my life fully and just making me feel so much, stress. And it was like, oh, I how can I live not live my life fully? Oh my God, this is my the value that I always uphold. That is to live my life, every second of my life, fully, to the fullest, to maximum amount, the to maximize, optimize my life. So this is just this is actually self sabotage. Many other people won't phrase it this way, but this is the reason why you'll end up here in my channel, because I'm here to deliver to you, maybe not on day-to-day basis, but I'm here to deliver to you a couple times a week my insights of through my everyday life. In the future videos, I will also reveal to you my other experiences and something, so you will later know more about the roads, the path that I have already walked prior to this point. There's a lot of things I want to share with you, but it cannot be all explained in one single video. Everything that I'm telling you is completely out of the spontaneity. So anything that is not spontaneous, I wouldn't want to give that to you. I didn't prepare any paper to write down the points or something. I just had this idea. I'm like, I pick up my equipments and everything. It's like, I gotta have to make this video, and I want my words to be heard by you guys. So if there's anything you want to hear, if there's anything you feel like there's some points I'm missing, please write it down in the commentary area. I will read them and I will respond to them as much as I can. And also, I would really appreciate if you guys subscribe this channel if you guys really like it, and it also helped me to inspire me more to make more videos to to help you guys who are also committed to this journey of self-development, self-growth. So this is that video about self-sabotage thoughts. Okay, and I don't know what the next video is going to be about, but please look forward to that, and I will also look forward to see you guys. May all beings be happy. See you next time.